Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about CGMs, continuous glucose monitors. Just one of those amazing devices that I personally am very thankful for. And I just want to talk about the tech troubles that seems to be trending right now, the accuracy, and just trying to keep it all in perspective. I'm going to, today we're going to be talking about what's on the market, the different CGMs. I'm not going to go into any real depth about these products, just an overview, just so that we know of all that's available. And like everything, always refer to your doctor, your care team, diabetes educator, whoever that you lean on to make these decisions around devices and pumps. And in this case today, we're going to be talking about continuous glucose monitors. So always refer to them for any final decisions. Again, this is just some quick little tidbits and some things that I've learned and some things that I'm learning from the community about what's happening right now. So what's out there, what's great, what's frustrating, and why we sometimes still need to prick the finger, right? And for some people, that is all they're doing, and that's fine too. So it really is about knowing our choices and making the best of it. So let's start with what CGMs are now available. A brief breakdown of the main players. And I'm going to start with Dexcom. Dexcom it's mainly the only CGM I've ever used. I remember years ago when I'm not sure why I went on Medtronic, because I wasn't on a pump, so I wasn't associated with that company when it came to the pump products. But I did try the Guardian Connect. That was one that I used. I was not real happy with it. Again, this was many years ago. I think that was a technology, a product that they were still trying to fine tune and make better, just like all these companies that I'm going to mention today. That is their ultimate goal. They want to put out a good product. They want us to rely on something that they can trust and turn to. And I know that no matter what, that is the underlying goal of these companies, is to give us something that we can use and rely on. So yeah, I did try that one. I tried the Libre, I think it was the 2. I don't think it was the Libre 3. I think it was the Libre 2. Just a few years ago, we had gotten some free samples, my husband and I tried that one. And again, I think it's just the change. I wasn't used to the app and the way it was set up. So I think just going in, I probably should have given it more of a chance, more time, to adapt to it. But I was quick to jump back on my Dexcom. And so for maybe the last 12, 15 years, I don't even remember. I'd have to go back and really look this up. When I started on a CGM, again, I'm 43 years type 1, lots of finger pricking in all those years. And again, this technology is somewhat new. So these companies are working hard. They're competitive with the type of sensors and all the different aspects of them, and they're trying to really kind of outdo each other, which I'm not the only one, I think, that picks up on that. And again, competition is good. It's good that they are trying their best to give us good products. And again, choices. It's all about choices. And this is something you don't have a choice on. I know it depends on where you live, and it's the accessibility to certain diabetes supplies that we're not all able to get. And I just commend you, all of you that are living with type 1 and see all the things that are out there, but you don't have accessibility to it, whether it's where you live, insurance, or whatever. So God bless you. And I commend you for your patience and your due diligence in using the devices that you do have access to and making the best of it. So, okay, let's start with Dexcom. And these are the ones that are pretty much out there right now that are being used. Still a lot of talk about people using them. G6 is a 10-day wear, and it is still very, very popular. I was on the G6 for years. I loved it. I was very happy when G7 came out. And I gave it a little time. I didn't jump on board immediately. I wanted to, it took a while for my insurance to accept it and cover it. So maybe 6 months or so before, once it hit the market and that actual time that I switched over from this G6 to the G7. And overall, I've been very happy with it. Again, there's no perfection. There's definitely been some pros and cons. There's definitely been some bad sensors. But overall, I've been really, really happy with it. And I know that there's still some of you who are very loyal and committed to the G6, which I completely understand because it's something you're used to. You feel like you're getting what you need from it, and there's no reason to jump over to the G7. So it's all about using what works for you right now. So the G7 is also 10-day wear. It's smaller in size. I love that we can calibrate it. Love the new alert settings. So I can go in there once I've recognized a high or low, hit the OK button, and then I can go into the profile section and toggle over, and it's shutting down the alarm, the alert, and it just goes into a vibration setting, which is so nice. So, you're out, you're in church, you're doing whatever, and you don't want that alert to keep having to sound, not only to bother and you, wherever you are, right? It can really be an interrupter. So I love that. Love that part of the G7. And, they marketed this new device, the G7, as being more accurate. And I commend all companies that want to market that and they believe that they're doing that. The one thing that I will notice, and I think this is part of the frustration, because the app or, the notification on the G7, and I know this happens with the G6 as well, but it will tell you when there's a brief sensor error. And it's frustrating. I know. It's like, I don't know my numbers right now. That's a little frustrating. And the app will tell you wait up to, I think, 3 hours, which seems like a long time. Again, don't forget the glucometer and the finger sticks. That's something that we can still lean on, to get what we need. And it doesn't generally take 3 hours. And anytime it's taken, say, more than, I've never really actually kept a record of this, I'll be honest, like an hour, that's usually, the sensor, again, it wants to be accurate. So I like the fact that it will shut down, it will pause if it knows it's not giving you readings that are close to where you are. And we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. But I love that fact that I would rather get no data than data that's way off, right? I think we can all agree with that. So I would rather it just shut down, do its thing, take a deep breath, reload, whatever that app is doing, whatever that sensor is having to do to kind of recalibrate, and then come back on. Now, I am on a sensor right now. I'm on day 8. I think I'm on 8.5. I always say 8.5 because I always do that 12-hour grace period, as long as my sensor is giving me what I need and it's kind of staying steady. And I've had those. So last night I had a few notices that it paused. It was not giving me readings. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm on day 8, almost day 9. This may not last the full 10 days. Sometimes that does happen. And then you have to look at what's happening around you, your environment, maybe extreme heat, temperature differences. Maybe it's just the but the actual subcutaneous mark and that fluid that is giving the information to the sensor and providing that data. So again, there could be some things that just tweak it and to knock it off, or not literally knock it off, but to knock it out of sync with everything. So I think that's where we have to put this in perspective. I think to me, it's a miracle. It's amazing how something, in this case, so small, as you can see it here on my arm. This is my G. I always pretty it up with a pump peels as well. Might as well, right? Have some fun with it. And I think it's just amazing. It still blows me away that something as small and so really indistinguishable, it doesn't look like of anything. It's just like a little blob on your arm. This little tiny device can give you so much information. And again, we got to hold those expectations where they are, because I know again that the device, the system is doing what it can. We have to take it with a grain of salt, and to be appreciative when the data does come across with some clarity and some confidence, gives us that confidence. So another thing I love is I've been on the Omnipod 5 now for, October of 24. 2024. Coming up on about 9-10 months. And I have taken a couple pump breaks, so I go back over to my pen for a little while when I just don't want another device attached to me. That's something I'm able to do. I'm really happy that I have that ability and access to that medical tool and that device and that insulin and all of that. So again, I never take that for granted. Now the G7, I'm going to back up and say what I love about it is that, this is another great thing. It's now compatible with the Omnipod 5 app. So this just happened a few weeks ago, and I love that feature because I can now just open up my Omnipod 5 app. Again, my G7 is synced with it, and I don't have to go back and forth between the two apps. As long as I've got my Omnipod 5 app open, I can obviously see my blood sugar. So I only go to the G7 if I just want to see it in a different view. And I'm going to be talking about some other things that just happened with the G7, some updates to the app. But that's really the only reason. I definitely use the Clarity app, which is the data house. I'll call it the house of data for the Dexcom, which really does show your trends and your, everything that you're doing over time. And of course, the reporting on this is amazing. We've talked a lot about that here on this show, and I don't remember the episode number, but Amanda Mueller was in here, Bolus and Biceps, and we talked a lot about data and how we can best utilize it. So definitely go back, and I will post that episode number right here inside the show notes so you can go back and listen into our conversation. So some updates about the G7 app is meal and event tracking. So this just happened a couple weeks ago as I'm recording this today. And this is where you take a picture of your food. The app helps to generate a detailed meal description to help save us time and effort. And in the history tab is where this can be accessed. And there's again, in the history tab, it's add event, I believe is what it is. And you can add a meal, you can add an activity. And that is a way to kind of house your data so that we can have it in one place. The downside, and this is something I've talked with some clients and some people and some ladies in my group coaching circle, it's like, well, this is all cool, but it's not giving us the carb count. It's not really giving us the information to help us with our dosing and that end of it, because that's really kind of what we like from any time that we add meals or exercise to an app, is to really get that feedback. But what I like is that what it can do is it's going to house your trends, and it's going to house meaning hold that data, and it's something to refer back to. So if you want to go in and look closer at certain meals, certain dosages that you took, and exercise that you did at what time of day, and you can kind of see those trends. And there's a way to go landscape on your smartphone, your mobile device, and you can see more information about all that data that's put in. So again, it's something to consider, something to look at. I know they're trying to integrate these things, blood sugar, and so meals, insulin, and blood sugar, that's just part of the equation, we all know, right? So there's many more factors that really factor into really what that overall blood sugar will be, half hour after we eat, 2 hours after we eat, the next morning, all those things. So it's nice to have that data kind of in one spot that we can refer back to. So a couple other CGMs, and I'm going to run down these really quick. Another Dexcom CGM is called the Stelo, Stelo, and this is recommended for those living with type 2s that are not on insulin, and there's no prescription required for this CGM, and it does not integrate with insulin pumps, which is the whole caveat there, that it's not recommended for anybody on insulin. So that makes sense. So it could definitely be used for somebody on multiple daily injections, somebody with type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, getting kind of an overview. I don't know a whole lot about the makeup of this pump. Definitely check with your healthcare provider to find out more details, or go on the app. I know Dexcom, again, you can look on their website to get all the information on all these different products that they sell. Now, an upcoming Dexcom, and this was just released, again, this was probably mid-June, so they were just approved the G7 for a 15-day wear. So right now the G7 is a 10-day wear, so it's wearable for 10 days. So, and this is expected to be released in later this year in 2025. And they are saying this is going to be the most accurate. It's going to be less waste because, again, we don't have to change it as often, so it's less plastic and waste. So again, more to come on that. And there's a lot of back and forth with, well, they need to fine-tune the G7 before they do another style or a different type of CGM, and the fact that they're extending it another 5 days. What will the accuracy be then? What's the wearability really? How's it going to affect the skin? And all those things that we think about. And again, it's such an individual approach to what we're wearing, the benefits we get from it, and our body's response. So again, it's just something to consider. It's nice to have choices, and I hope this is something that might be something you choose. If you do, let me know. I'm still waiting. I'm still going to wait and let that maybe come out and get on the market, and then just kind of see how it all plays out, which is generally what I do. I don't jump on things too quickly. I like to kind of just see and wait and just trust my gut and my intuition on it. Now let's jump over to Libre. This is the Freestyle Libre 3. This is a 14-day wear time, smaller, affordable, but no alarms unless used with paired app. It does pair with certain insulin pumps. The Libre 3 is not paired with the Omnipod 5. You can pair the Omnipod 5 with the Libre 2, but the third model is not yet available at the time of this recording. And let's jump over to Medtronic. They have some CGMs as well. So the Guardian 4, this is mainly for pump users. Accuracy depends on calibration. So I'm not real sure what that means, but I guess that is something that has been noted and something that they even state on their website. So this is Medtronic Diabetes. And the other one is Simplera. So this is the first disposable, and it's an all-in-one CGM. And both of these, both the Guardian 4 and the Simplera, they both integrate with the MiniMed 7G pump, and they're both 7-day wear times. So noted on that. And I know they have done quite a bit. Medtronic is working really hard, again, to stay up with all these devices that we want, and we want good quality products. And I know they've definitely got their hand in the game, and they're working it, and they have a lot of really good integrity around their products. So yay on Medtronic Diabetes. Eversense. Okay, so this is a popular one. Well, it's becoming more popular because it's more talked about, and it is implantable. So this niche of this implantable long wearing CGM is starting to get a little bit more coverage and talk, and I know a few people personally that are wearing the Eversense. And it started out at a 90-day, so a 3-month wearable. Then it went up to 180 days, so that's 6 months? Yeah. And now they have the 365. That's what they're calling it, the 365, which is, as we all know, 1 year. And the Sequel Med Pack is a twist pump. This is the first pump to integrate with the Eversense. So this is a great option. It's also a great option for those of you who are still on multiple daily injections. Again, all that integration with pumps, again, these are things these companies are working hard on. It's exciting just to sit back, watch everybody's response and their feedback on the products, and when to know when it's time for you to jump in and maybe switch over to a different product, or try a new upgrade on maybe an existing type of that you're currently using, right? And just a good way to summarize all of these. I just did a highlight on what's out there, and you can definitely go to these companies' websites to get a lot more information, or talk to your doctor, to your care team about what's available. But it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's your lifestyle, it's the cost, it's the insurance coverage, and it's the sensor preferences. What's important to you. They all play a role in these decisions we make.